What's going on, Frankmeisters? Good evening. Good to see everybody. How y'all doing this evening? Another eventful day. More documents came out. Thought I'd get on here and go over them with you guys. We have the document filed again for leave, and we have the response from the Relator in reference to Attorney General and Judge Gull. So, how is everybody doing tonight? Been a little bit quiet, but try to keep everybody up to date on everything. So that's why I'm on tonight. Coach Kev, I know you're hard at work, bro. Renee, good to see you. It's outside the crib. What's going on, buddy? Hey, Wanda. Metal Mama. Yeah, good to see you. Teresa, Roxy. Hey, Gail. Good to see you. There's the Red Queen. What's going on with you? What's going on, Cecil? Amy. Well, there's Miss Cold Truth. How you doing, lady? Haven't seen you in a while. Haven't talked to you in a while. Thought I'd check in on today. See if everything was good with you. Nana72 calling from southeastern Indiana. Well, actually, I'm right here in Greenwood, Indiana. What's going on, Olivia? Who else we got in here? I'm just looking. Rob Lee, good to see you. Beth, it's good to see you, hon. One of my favorite friends right there, Pam Hurst. She's back. Freckle Joy. You still overseas, girl? Angel Bear, it's good to see you, hon. How are you doing? There's another favorite lady. One of my favorite ladies. Rescue All Dogs. How you doing, hon? And by the way, if you guys don't know, she's one of my new mods. But I'm pretty sure you guys are well versed in my rules in here and you won't act up. Boston Christian. What's going on, Leslie? Miss Thang, another one of my mods, is in the chat. She knows how to throw the gauntlet down so I don't have to worry about anything in my chat. My Charlie, what's going on, bud? Mustang, what's going on? Yes, I made her a mod on Monday, Leslie. Back on Monday. She's been doing a lot of stuff for me, especially when it comes to the case, like picking me up and taking her to court hearings and things of that nature. And she's been doing a little bit of the stuff with as far as Delphi on her own. She attended Abby's Angels Christmas thing with Anna, Abby, and a bunch of the ladies there out at Delphi. Appreciate you doing that. She also kind of spied on for several of us on the little groundswell on Monday too. Appreciate you doing that also. They're Rescue All Dogs. Let's see who else I got in here. Devoted. There you are. What do you mean it's been a mess on here today? Yeah, I learned a long time ago to stay out of that mess, those kind of messes. I got caught up in one mess a little over a year ago, and I got myself out of it, and I stayed away from all that garbage now. Reconnaissance, there you go. All right, do you guys want me to go over these documents with you guys? Give me a yay or nay, or we can just shoot the shit. We can read and shoot the shit at the same time. All right, give me a minute. You guys hear me all okay? Because I did a little bit of adjustment on my volume today. Just want to make sure you guys hear me okay. All right, the first one we're going to look at here is the the leave that Winnicky filed. What happened? The hell? Let's try this again. Relator's motion for leave. That's what I want. Share. I don't know what the hell this is over here. Let me turn that off. There we go. Can you guys see that just fine? Let me know if I need to expand it out a little bit, guys. This one's only a couple pages long. Is that better? I got to center it now. How do I center this thing? I might have to take it back down. I'll be able to read that. All right, it says Relator's motion for leave to file response to respondents and Attorney General's objections. Yep, I've definitely got to take it down a notch. For some reason, it's Relator by counsel respectfully requests that the court allow Relator the opportunity to respond to both respondent and the Attorney General's objections to Relator's petition to writ of mandamus. In support of this motion, Relator states the following. Number one, the Indiana Original Acts rules do not expressly provide a Relator the opportunity to file a response to respondent's objections. Nevertheless, this court has granted a Relator leave to file a response in prior original actions. And it goes to into case precedents, guys, on that. And now next page too. So we'll go to number 2. A response is warranted in this case for 3 reasons. First, the Attorney General has asked for certain portions of Relator's record of proceedings to be stricken. Second, the Attorney General and respondent both object to Relator's petition for a writ, but on somewhat contrary grounds. Both parties argue that removal of counsel is a matter within the trial court's discretion, a position with which Relator disagrees. But the crux of the Attorney General's objection to assurance of a writ is that there is not a sufficient record in this case to review the issue. The crux of a respondent's objection, however, is that the record is sufficient to support respondent's removal of counsel. Number 4, finally, since Relator files his petition, respondent has produced a transcript of the October 19th in-camera proceeding and ordered the trial court clerk to make several filings publicly accessible. Relator has not had access to the in-camera transcript and one of those filings until it was made publicly available. The new filing was a report filed by the Carroll County Sheriff in June of 2023, which is relevant to respondent's objection and is included in a supplemental record of proceedings Relator is filing. What is that? I can't even see it. With this motion. It's hard for me to see, guys. I'm blind. Number 5, Relator therefore files this response, asks that a writ of mandamus be issued. Respectfully, Mark Lehman and Kara Weinecke. Certificate of filing, Weinecke Law Office. That's it for that one, guys, for now. So what's your guys' opinions on that? Let me go into the chat here, see if anybody's got any comments. I'm looking, guys. I don't see anybody really making any comments. Y'all just holding your own conversations in here. Like I said, devoted, I stay away from the toxicity. Yeah, you guys ain't really got much to say about the case. You just want to chat, don't you? The owners don't want Frank to have the documents. Hey, Violet, good to see you, hon. Yes, Cold Truth. You're one of my I consider you a good friend now, so that we've actually chatted and had some adult conversations with each other. So I'll look out for people like you and our other friend, which we can't name, Rescue All Dogs. I basically look out for every woman that's in this chat if they're in my area. If I was in y'all's area, best believe I'll be sticking up for y'all's too. But when it comes to the social media, I'll definitely stick up for everybody. Miss Thang, she only lives about 20 minutes from me. I look out for her too, even though she's got a husband. She's still my friend. Cold truth. Every time I hear, or see groundswell, I'm immediately picturing the earth burping. What's going on, GP? Good to see you. Cody, I know you had to have watched Survivor Series Saturday, buddy, if you got that name as your screen name. Bloated muck. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Hold on. Yeah, I guess not. Devoted. I've seen any of the new stuff released today. I just read one of them, Red Queen. That's what I was reading. The first one that was with the request for leave. Lucy, good to see you. There's Coach Kev. Yeah, this is it should be the last filing for the Supreme Court, but I keep going back to what the Attorney General said. They did not follow the process when it comes to filing an appeal. You have to go through the state appeal process first before it goes to the state Supreme Court. So, in my opinion, I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think they're just going to kick it out. Yes, I noticed that too, Metal Mama. And once we get into the response portion of this, I think it's like 11 pages or something. But I got the notion it was from what I was reading that it was all about the defense. They were making it all about themselves again, and they're not even part of the case anymore. $69 watching $39. Get them, GP. Thank you. Yes, Sparky. I'd have made this known everywhere. Richard Allen, I know you can't hear me, and I'm sure Kathy probably can because I'm sure she watches all of us. His goose is cooked. Hey, I was brought up right. You know, I've seen some bad things growing up when it comes to abuse and stuff like that. You know, I've seen some bad things. And I'm not a perfect person, and I'll be the first one to admit to you. But I've learned from my mistakes over the last 30 years. I was young and dumb, didn't know any better. Honestly, I didn't really have a whole lot of guidance when I went into the military and got out of the military, I was basically on my own. Thank you, Violet. Much appreciated. Thank you, Devoted. Kimo Sabe. I think the issue with the courts is that they ignore what has happened. That would give a green light to every judge in Indiana to ignore the rules and procedures overseen by the court. You got a point there, Kimo, but my point is that they thought they were just going to leapfrog over the appellate court and go straight to the Supreme Court. They knew better than that. Yes, Miss Thank Friends forever. And if you guys ever get a chance, I mean, I don't get a chance to see him, but I've seen him once, New Year's last year. But her husband's in the band. I believe it's called the 13th Floor. They are a really good band, and they're constantly having shows all over Central Indiana, guys. And if you live in the area, man, you guys need to check out her husband's band. Yes, I know that, Leslie. We've had discussions on our trips. Yeah, I think you came in a little late, Cindy. I went over the motion for leave that was filed. Easton, the other day you had mentioned the possibility of others being involved based on Weber search warrants. Is there anything you can expand on regarding that? Honestly, I'd rather not. I'm not going to go into things that I and others know, because that's not my place to do that. I'm trying to protect the integrity of the case. But like I said, you just have to ask yourself certain questions when it comes to this case. For instance, like I was saying, the Weber property had several search warrants served there, plus other searches that were done on the property. You have to ask yourself why. Why did they have to keep going back out to that property? I mean, that's just one instant there, So that's as far as I'm going to go into that. These are things that people are missing, and I am trying to get people to understand and open your eyes and expand and look outside the box when it comes to this case, because anything is possible. And yes, I still firmly believe about 95% there is another person involved. I'm not going to go 100%. I'll never go 100%, just like I'm 99% confident it is Richard Allen as bridge guy on the bridge. But you'll never get me to say 100%. Yes, Cody. I loved it when Randy Orton came out and then CM Punk came out right at the end. Hey, Polygraph. Well, it was kind of confusing to vote when it come to Rikita, because first of all, when this all started, he done made it clear he would not represent Judge Gull. Okay. And then he got fined by the Supreme Court over some abortion thing. I'm not sure what it was about, but they fined him like $250. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's going to put his 2 cents in when it comes to this case. It kind of confused me there, and I don't understand why he inserted himself now. I don't think Judge Gull's going anywhere. If she goes anywhere, it's because of due to health reasons. That's just my opinion. Because her attorney, McEwen, I think his name is, her attorney made it very clear that the Indiana Supreme Court has never overturned a judge's decision to remove any attorneys from a case. I'm sorry, Red Queen. Do you need to? I mean, here, what I'll do is, let me find my banners. If you'll take my email down, Red Queen, take it down and you send me an email, and I'll send you the copies so you'll be able to read them yourself. Okay? If you take my email down right there, and I'll get those copies too if you send me an email. Thank you, Cold Truth. Much appreciated. Oh, by the way, did your long distant buddy make it to court today? Please tell me he didn't. Please tell me he did not show up at court today. Yep, Sparky, I agree. They appointed her the judge for this case. What I think is going on is that she's on the short list of getting on the Supreme Court, and this is a test for her. They gave her a test. This case is a test for her. Yes, exactly, Angel Bear. I mean, and another thing that gave it away is if when we read the transcripts between the judge and the attorneys on October 19th, remember the statement that Rosie said after the judge said about crime scene photos being released. He did not care what got released. He did not care. So what does that tell you? He didn't care what it took, but he was going to do what he had to do to taint a jury and to get his name out there in the national attention. My opinion. At this point, they have their guy, case solved, on to the next. This has all gotten dumb. Well, it's not over yet, Freckles, because we don't know exactly. I mean, a lot of us have our suspicions that the Supreme Court's not going to do anything, but if they do, then we're in for a real long haul. What's going on, Sleuth? Good to see you, buddy. Good show last night, man. Good show. It all depends on what the Supreme Court does, Leslie. You know, honestly, if they do hear the case, I'm able to attend that because the United States Supreme Court is downtown. Federal building is downtown Indianapolis. I only live about 20-minute car drive from downtown Indianapolis. Oh my goodness. Really, Amy? It's like that? Yes. Just like in my survey that I posted yesterday, Cold Truth. I posted a survey on my community wall, and a lot of people say Rosie and Baldwin are gone. And then the second highest percentage was people saying that the Supreme Court will not hear the case. Thank you, Sparky. Thank you, Miss Thang. And now you're just kidding. Oh, Lord. Man, everybody's starting to come in here. Good to see everybody. Let's see. Kimosabi, I think at this point, the court has agreed with the defense and granted original filings, in my opinion. Well, I think what they're trying to say is this is how I looked at it. Since they only did it verbally and there was nothing actually on the record at the time, they're trying to say that she struck stuff from the record when she wasn't allowed to when they were still attorneys. But that's going to be up to the Supreme Court to decide if they were still on the case or not, or if they're going to go ahead and grant what Judge Gull did is let them resign right there in their chambers. And then at that point, they're not going to put nothing back up. Yes, please. If you see other creators in my chat, Miss Thang knows. I'm not sure if Rescue All Dog has learned how to drop all that stuff yet. If you see any other creators in my chat, please drop their link for me, please. Thank you very much, ladies. V. Marie, good to see you, hon. Who is that? H. Nixon? Yes, go for the Supreme Court. All right, give me just a minute to catch up on the chat, guys, and I'll go over like this 11-page response from the Relator. Just trying to catch up. What's that, Cold Tooth? Highly doubt what? I'm in support with Steffa. How you feeling, hon? Yes, there you go. There you go. My point exactly. And see, this is the kind of stuff that I wanted to see wanted the pro defense to see was those transcripts to prove a point. They did it to themselves in those chambers. Easton says it seems pretty obvious based on the introduction of the Franks hearing alone that it was intended for the public. Well, they started this way back in November when they started with the bullet. And that's when, right before that happened, Nick McClellan asked for a gag order, and she hadn't imposed it yet. And before she was able to impose it, the defense started talking publicly about the bullet. And that's when Judge Gull decided to go ahead and put the protective order in place, and they violated it 2 more times after that. I think the mess is pretty much straightened out. It's just all legality right now. Oh, yeah, okay, I got what you're saying. Because I got a call yesterday about him, and apparently he's been whining and crying again on YouTube about having no money, walking down the road. He doesn't know where he's at, this and that, begging for money again. And I was like, that's on his own. That's on you, bro. You did that to yourself. You follow the rules like you were supposed to, you wouldn't be in the position you're in. All right, let's get to the motion or the response inbox. The relator's response. All right. Present. Share screen. I don't know why the hell that keeps popping up. All right. Tell me if I need to expand it out, guys. Hold on. I'll try the best that I can to where I'm able to read it too. And this is all table of contents summary. All right. I do need to cut it down a little bit. All right. There we go. Basically, we got here is the relator's response to respondents and attorney general's objections by Winnicky and Lehman again. You got your table of contents here and your conclusion. Here's the summary. This writ is the only remedy in any trial without Baldwin and Rosie. Rick's counsel of choice would be merely for show. Only 2 lawyers can be ready for a speedy trial and carry out Rick's well-developed trial strategy. And only one court can grant that relief, this court. If action is not taken now, Rick's trial will be delayed longer and even more public resources will be spent. But more importantly, the public's trust in the judiciary will be permanently undermined while the world watches and appeal is inadequate. Response. Number 1, this case presents the paradigm situation for a writ of mandamus. This court routinely relies on its original jurisdiction to address the claims where attorneys have been or should have been disqualified. And then we're going into case law here, or case precedent. And the respondent and the attorney general do not dispute this fact. The unlawful disqualification of a lawyer strikes at the heart of the public trust in the integrity of the judicial process and requires this court to invoke its inherent authority to supervise the conduct of lower courts. And it gives an action rule. Respondent. A. Respondent severed the attorney-client relationship on her own motion and over Rick's objection. Going into case precedents again. Writ of mandamus and prohibition of petition that challenged the trial court's decision to disqualify criminal defense counsel in a murder case. And it gives you a case precedents again. There, the attorneys initiated their own withdrawal. This court did not deny the writ for failure to have a clear, unequivocal right to reinstate of counsel, but because this court will not countermand the trial court's ruling that placed in precisely the position their motion indicated their willingness to be. And it goes to the case precedents. This court did not doubt for a moment that a court-initiated discharge would properly fall within the court's original jurisdiction. This court is generally of the view that a trial court is limited in its authority to remove a criminal defense defendant court-appointed counsel. Here, respondent made it clear that she was discharging attorneys Baldwin and Rosie on her own motion, regardless of how defense counsel proceeded or what the prosecutor wanted her to do. Respondent initially suggested the defense counsel just read between the lines regarding what she was saying. Your lawyers, reading between the lines is what you do for a living. Eventually, she made it clear that she was unequivocally severing the attorney-client relationship and that there was no situation where Attorney Baldwin and Rosie could proceed with representing Rick. And then it goes back into the conversation with Rosie and the court. I'm not going to go through that again because we've all read through that again. All right. Suggested the respondent here. Attorneys Rosie and Baldwin spoke probably with Rick returning to chambers to advise that Judge Rick objected to severely severing the attorney-client privilege relationship. He wants us to continue with his representation. Attorney Baldwin and Rosie suggested that the respondent hears direct from Rick. One, thinks it's appropriate that the court let him speak into the record his thoughts unless the court just accepts that as notice that those are his options. They expressed concerns that Rick's rights against self-incrimination would be prejudiced if he was forced to speak on the public record without counsel. So they suggested bringing Rick into chambers. It seemed a little bit of a difficult position to put a man who's accused but not been found guilty, but put him in a courtroom and have him, have to speak in this circumstance with a 15-minute notice. The judge declined to hear from Rick directly because it would make the DOC uncomfortable and because she would not be comfortable having him in her office. The judge removed attorneys Rosie and Baldwin over there and Rick's objections. Respondent had an absolute duty to refrain from severing the attorney-client relationship. Not a single Indiana case has tolerated similar behavior from a trial judge. There are only two narrow situations in Indiana where a trial court has jurisdiction to sever the attorney-client relationship against the client's wishes. One, the lawyer is not a member of the state bar, and it goes to a case precedents. Number two, the lawyer has an actual conflict of interest that will obstruct his ability to provide effective representation. Added another case precedents. No Indiana court has ever tolerated a trial judge removing a lawyer from a case over the client's objections. Based on anything other than these two reasons, and throughout their 8,000 words and nearly 50 pages of briefing, the responding parties failed to present a single Indiana case tolerating this behavior from a trial judge. Every Indiana disqualification case cited by the responding parties involved one, the following: a conflict of interest, an unlicensed attorney, a judge being reversed because she removed a lawyer from a case from some other reason. It goes into case precedents. Where are we at? Conflict of interest and unauthorized practice of law. Attorneys Rosie and Baldwin were licensed attorneys without any conflict of interest. The judge had an absolute duty to refrain from severing the attorney-client relationship. C. Respondent obstructed the attorney-client relationship for reasons totally unconnected to the Sixth Amendment. When respondent severed the attorney-client relationship, she was acting on subjective opinions about the defense's conduct outside the courtroom, not on any Sixth Amendment concerns that might alter the trial's outcome. Respondent argues that attorneys Baldwin and Rosie committed multiple violations of the rules of professional conduct and that she acted to protect Relator's Sixth Amendment right to effective assistance of counsel. The rules of professional conduct are not, coextensive with the Sixth Amendment guarantee of assistance of counsel. It goes into case precedents. Ethical standards can apply to a bound range of attorney conduct totally unconnected to the Sixth Amendment. And the Sixth Amendment is concerned with defiant performance that has a reasonably probability to alter the trial's court outcome. And goes to case precedent. Attorney Baldwin and Rosie did not violate any ethical rules, and the judge, if she believed there was a violation of the rules of professional conduct, she should have reported a violation in accordance with her obligation under Rule of Judicial Conduct 2.15. But this never occurred, despite respondent claimed there was a violation of the ethical rules nearly a year ago, when counsel issued a press release in November affirming Richard Allen's innocence. And that's what I was talking about when they brought in the bullet evidence, and they knew they shouldn't have never done that. And in any event, respondents' subjective concerns with attorneys Rosie and Baldwin are wholly unrelated to the Sixth Amendment. Respondents' primary ground for her subjective belief about counsel's performance was the evidence leak discovered in October. Yet, Attorney Baldwin was a victim of a crime allegedly committed by Mitch Westerman, who surreptitiously took photographs of evidence. Law enforcement, a prosecutor, and the Johnson County Superior Court have reviewed this matter and found probable cause to believe Attorney Baldwin was a victim of a crime. What happened to Attorney Baldwin in October and the other instances cited by respondent in no way affected the quality of representation Attorney Baldwin and Rosie provided Rick and did not disrupt their trial strategy. Rick clearly and repeatedly asked respondents to refrain severing the attorney and client relationship, but she acted anyway. Disqualification was first mentioned by the state in a telephone conference on October 10th, 2023. We've all read the conference and all that. We've read the emails and all that stuff too. The very next day, Rick affirmed in writing he still wanted attorneys Baldwin and Rosie to represent him. Trial counsel filed Rick's letter with the court and included a lengthy letter to the court that explained that the court lacked jurisdiction to disqualify counsel because there was no conflict of interest. That same day, the trial court ordered counsel to cease work on Rick's case. Before the hearing on October 19, 2023, Attorney Baldwin retained counsel and filed a memorandum against informing the trial court that it lacked jurisdiction to remove counsel absent a conflict of interest. During an in-chambers proceedings held before the hearing in open court, when respondent revealed that on her own motion she was disqualifying counsel, Attorney Rosie argued that respondent lacked authority to do so. After the in-chambers proceedings, Attorney Rosie filed a notice informing the court that he was remaining on the case as Rick's attorney. He didn't do that until 3 or 4 or 5 days later. As well as a motion for respondent recusal, the court struck the pleadings and it indicated it would take no action on them. Attorney Baldwin, by his counsel, filed a motion to reconsider his removal as counsel, arguing that the respondent lacked jurisdiction to disqualify counsel, particularly considering that a motion for her recusal was pending. Respondent did not take any action on that motion. Well, she did. The day before the next scheduled hearing, Rick's case, Attorney Baldwin and Rosie entered their appearance on Rick's behalf as private counsel. At the hearing, Rick's attorneys argued again that the court had no authority to remove them as counsel. On each of the 6 occasions mentioned above, Attorney Baldwin and Rosie informed the court that respondent lacked jurisdiction to disqualify them. The claim was clearly and repeatedly presented to the trial court, but the trial court chose to act contrary to her absolute duty to refrain from severing the attorney-client relationship. Respondent delayed the efficient administration of justice. Respondent's conduct in this case was particularly harmful because severing the attorney-client relationship delayed the efficient administration of justice. The Attorney General argues that the need for efficient administration of justice should have been balanced against a defendant's Sixth Amendment rights. Indeed, Indiana courts do not require judges to unflinchingly grant continuances or delays proceedings so a defendant can bring in counsel of his own choice on the eve of a trial. Case precedents. Trial court balancing a defendant's right to go to trial in a timely manner with defendant's desire to delay proceedings indefinitely while he wanted for his preferred attorneys to recover from a potentially fatal medical condition. A defendant's last-second gamesmanship for a new lawyer's caused substantial loss of time for jurors, lawyers, the court. But the opposite situation occurred here. Respondent delayed proceedings to insert counsel of her choice. When the judge severed the attorney-client relationship in October, trial was scheduled to begin in January 2024. Rosie and Baldwin spent nearly a year reviewing the voluminous discovery, conducting depositions, developing a speedy trial strategy, and pursuing a defense of third-party guilt. Attorneys Baldwin and Rosie were acting members and in good standing with the Indiana bar, and they told the judge they were ready to try this case in January. There is nothing in the record suggesting otherwise. The judge, on the other hand, had not ruled on several of Rick's substantive motions. The Frank's memo, which sought to suppress the warrant search that uncovered a firearm but has been pending since September 2023. As of October 31st of 2023, respondent has not finished reading the motion. I haven't finished reading it yet. We all knew that because she's very busy. She's got other cases to worry about. We knew this. The motion for the state to produce Rule 404 and 405 evidence, which would inform counsel's decision whether to put Rick on the stand, has been pending for nearly a year. Also pending is an August 8th of 2023 request for transcripts of the June 15th hearing, which counsel needed for use at a deposition and hearing. Finally, a motion in limine on ballistics evidence has been pending since June 13th of 2023. The motion seeks to exclude purported expert testimony and that an unspent cartridge found near the crime scene had been cycled through a gun in Rick's home. A ruling from this motion is obviously critical. The effective or efficient administrative of justice. When respondents severed the attorney-client relationship, she was not balancing the Sixth Amendment right against it. On the contrary, she violated the Sixth Amendment when she inserted counsel of her own choice and delayed all proceedings, denying Rick, the victims, the witnesses, and the public to the efficient administration of justice. F. The remedy on appeal is non-existent. Only an original action can achieve a speedy trial with attorneys Rosie and Baldwin at the helm. Rick is a pretrial detainee who is over 50 years old, has deteriorating health, and is housed in a prison among individuals who have been convicted of crimes. He files this writ asking for attorneys in Baldwin to be reinstated, to remove the trial judge, and to mandate a trial within a criminal rule 4B number 1 time frame. Only this court can deliver that relief. The responding parties failed to address the interwoven connection between Rick's speedy trial request and the respondent's Sixth Amendment violation. Let me take a breath for a minute. Whew. Oh my goodness. Here, murder charges were filed October 28th, 2022, and the parties agreed to set this trial for January 8th of 2024, which was outside the criminal rule 4C period. Rick had a right to assume trial would be held on that date. And goes to a case precedents. Rick had a right to assume trial would be held on that date. Rosie and Baldwin spent nearly a year reviewing voluminous discovery, conducting depositions, developing a speedy trial strategy, pursuing a defense of third-party guilt so they would be ready for trial on January 8th. Baldwin and Rosie were ready to try this case as scheduled. Okay, 2 more pages. Respondent severed the attorney-client relationship over Rick's objection and thrust new attorneys upon him who were unprepared for a 3-week trial, scheduled to commence in 3 months. On January 8, 2024, no attorney coming into the case could be ready for a trial of this complexity with that time frame. Only attorneys who have worked on this case for over a year could be prepared. In short, only attorneys Baldwin and Rosie can be ready for trial within the limit of Criminal Rule 4. A direct appeal after a jury trial is wholly inadequate. Trial has already been continued at the request of the new public defenders by 10 months to October 2024, and the trial may very well be continued again. When trial eventually proceeds, there will be an unresolved Sixth Amendment issue. Carroll County, Allen County, the witnesses, the victims' families, lawyers, Rick's will all the drag through the constitutionality and firm trial. The Sixth Amendment issue will permeate every aspect of the case, rendering a fair trial impossible and a tremendous waste of resources. Trial will be for practice only. Furthermore, the remedy on appeal will be retrial, not retrial with attorneys Baldwin and Rosie. Richard Allen went to trial with attorneys Baldwin and Rosie, and only this court can grant that relief. Even if Richard Allen is acquitted at a trial in October 2024 or months thereafter, his rights will still be violated because justice will have been long delayed while his 50-year health conditions to continue to deteriorate in prison. Justice too long delayed is justice denied. And it goes case law. And a interlocutory appeal would only exacerbate the harm Rick has already suffered. Even under the best circumstances, interlocutory appeal takes months for a decision to reach, assuming one can receive permission from both the trial and the courts of appeals. And it goes into case precedents. Must remember that reversals are but punitive. The cure lies those remedial measures that will prevent the prejudice at its inception. Given the respondent's comments regarding trial counsel's performance and credibility, she cannot oversee a trial where they represent Rick. A judge shall be disqualified in any proceeding in which her impartiality might reasonably be questioned. Respondent argues that neither Rick nor attorneys Baldwin and Rosie demonstrated that respondent had any bias or prejudice toward them. Yet, even before the circumstances surrounding the discovery leak had been fully investigated, respondent indicated that she was leaning toward disqualifying counsel. Respondent also claims counsel's motion for immediate transfer or custody for Rick had a lot of inaccuracies. When compared to the state's affidavit, respondent indicated she was denying the motion, even though no hearing on the motion had taken place, which Rick had given no opportunity to present evidence. Respondent said the same thing about Rick's motion to request a modification of the safekeeping order filed back in April 2023, that it contained inaccuracies and falsehoods. Respondent based on Respondent based that on the state's evidence presented at a hearing on the motion but failed to acknowledge that respondent relieved the sheriff of his burden to transfer Rick's primary witness to the hearing so that he could testify in support of Rick's motion. You know who they're talking about. Major Lesenby was advised by the court to disregard any further efforts to retrieve inmate Baston from the Westville facility. Conclusion: the court is the only court now. This court is the only court now that can ensure Rick receives his fundamental right to counsel. A writ of mandamus is appropriate to reinstate attorneys Baldwin and Rosie as court-appointed attorneys to set a trial date within 7 days from the assurance of the writ, and remove the special judge and appoint a new one. And that is it on that, guys. Well, that was a lot of reading. All right, let's get back up into the chat here. It sounds, I mean, even though they're not on the case anymore, like I said, I had started reading a little bit of it earlier, and they made it all about them. It was all about Rosie and Baldwin. I could go way back, don't I? Yes. Indiana does not have anything in place regarding that, but they went by the United States Constitution is how they did it. The United States Constitution does give the judge the right to remove counsel. Cold truth. Am I missing something here? Oh, I see more people popped in. I see Willa Rain popped in. Melissa popped in. You know what we used to call them, cold truth, public pretenders. I honestly think she is. She's seen the writing on the wall. I mean, Baldwin admitted to having discussions with Westerman about the case and strategies about the case. When that was a no-no right off the get-go, because Westerman was not hired onto the team. He had no ties to the case whatsoever. So that was a no-no, number one. He admitted to that. Number two, Rosie knew about this as of October 8th, what was going on. We all seen the proof with the text message transcripts and the email transcripts. He knew about everything that was going on those dates. They had 11 days to come up with something to go to the 19th to defend themselves, and they didn't even do that. Yeah, I seen that's not going to go anywhere. I seen that. That tort's crazy. Yes, I agree, Sandra. At Rob Lee, yes, it's my opinion she'd have done the same even if they were retained attorneys. I agree. But she had to go a different route with that because I think there's a way she has to do that. She just can't openly remove them. I think she has to file paperwork for that. Sorry, guys. I'm going through the chat here. Yes, Kay, they do that. This is Indiana. You're guilty of proven until innocent. But in my own opinion and everything I've saw and everything that I've read, Rick Allen is goose is cooked. I'm sorry. You got your opinion, and I appreciate your opinion, and I don't have no problem with your opinion, but respect my opinion. Thank you very much. You're always giving me shit about something, Kay. I'm not the only one. So get off my back and go and bother somebody else with that garbage, because I'm not the only one that believes that Rick Allen's guilty. Sure in the hells don't see you going in other chats saying it to other chats. I sure don't see you doing that. You trying to get me worked up or something? Because I done let my aggression out on Monday. You missed all that. Cold truth. Rosie and Baldwin violated their client's rights to a fair trial with an impartial jury. Yep, end of it. She told them we can have a hearing. Okay? You're not. Well, I'm not going to argue with you. She told them that they can have a hearing. Go back and read the damn thing again. Yeah, my dog's going nuts. I'm looking, guys. I'm reading through the chat. Trying to find something that, let's see. Because y'all are having a hell of a conversation in here. Yeah. That's what I mean, Sandra. They, I don't know Kay very well, and I don't know her intellect. I mean, I don't even know who she is, honestly. But any common sense person, if you go back and read that in-chamber transcript, it's clearly evident they knew what was going on. Nick had all the evidence against him, and then once they realized that he had all the evidence against him, she was basically telling them, look, I could spare you the embarrassment right now, because we're going to have a hearing about all the other stuff that we needed to have a hearing on right now. And then I'm going to talk about what's been going on also in this hearing. And they didn't want nothing to do with that. They didn't want to publicly be shamed. It's their own fault. They did not prepare themselves from the time the 8th, when they had the emails and the conference calls with the judge. From the 8th to the 19th, they had 11 days to prepare themselves. And they chose not to, so that's on their own. That's their problem. Nobody else's. They did this shit to themselves. Well, Devoted, what Indiana law says is that the clock starts ticking on a speedy trial on his arraignment. But I don't know what happened after that. I've been trying to get documents from the court to find out what happened, and I'm just not having any luck trying to get them right now. So, well, Leslie, not necessarily. I mean, the Supreme Court can rule on this tomorrow or by next week. We just don't know. They might send it down to the appellate court, and if they do that, then he's gonna be sitting for a while. Yeah, but we talked at Walk Chemo. Yeah, everybody's got their own opinions, and they're entitled to that, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. But when you've got pro-defense people that want to take something in writing and twisted to try to make it fit their narrative when it does not fit their narrative. Blatantly, clearly in there, she said we can have a hearing on this, and she wanted to do it that day. Didn't Rikita say he typically the relate or doesn't get a respond to respond to the respondent? I get that he's allowing it. Jeez. Well, it's awful weird, Cold Truth, that like I said earlier, that he clearly stated he was not going to represent Gull in this matter, and then all of a sudden he's putting his 2 cents in. What's this all about? That's what I want to know. Yes. Why it's county time, JP or GP. They consider it county time. He's not in the state prison system time. He's doing county time in the prison. So he'll get if he is found guilty every day that he sat in jail before he is sentenced to prison, they'll knock every one of those days off his prison sentence. Every day that he sat in jail before he was sentenced. I'm looking through the chat, guys. I'm trying to keep up with everybody. Oh yeah, that really drives me crazy when you got the non-true crime people that don't have channels or anything like that chiming in. I totally agree with you on that one, Cold Truth. The public does need to be involved. I mean, the way I look at this, guys, is I don't know if I've talked about this before, but when a murder or a real bad crime happens, and they're looking for people to talk and give them information, and a lot of people won't talk to law enforcement. They don't trust law enforcement, and that's where we come in, because they could come to us knowing we don't have no fear talking to law enforcement and give them information. And that's why I enjoy doing this too, because if there's people out there that know something about a crime or know some information and they are afraid to talk to law enforcement, they could come to us. That's a good thing. No, they don't. I don't believe they cared about him at all. I think it was all about their own reputation. Honestly, I do kind of have a problem with her signing to a public defenders from the same county she is a judge in. I mean, I think that's just not right. I mean, it does kind of show a little bit of favoritism toward the prosecutor, but then again, that's people are going to start, oh, now she's being corrupt, hiring 2 of her friends. Yeah, it's crazy. Everything from Allen County, judge, defense team, and the jury. Oh God, I hope not. My goodness, I hope not. I looked it up, Red Queen, and I'd have to go back and look at it again. But he is part of what's called the criminal defense. It's a organization or something like that, full of criminal defense attorneys. They're right here in Franklin, Indiana, where Andrew Baldwin's office is at. Yes, I mean, don't get me wrong, CJK. If there is a trial, I do want him to have a fair and partial jury and trial. There's nothing more that I want for the man, But in my honest opinion, once again, I do not believe there will be a trial. I think he's going to end up pleading out sooner or later. Red Queen says sometimes a devil's advocate helps keep everyone from getting tunnel vision. Yes, criminal conversion, Class A misdemeanor in the state of Indiana. It's 1 year jail time and a fine. Excuse me. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, I kind of figured that, but I only noticed it as she does it in my chat, Cindy, and it's uncalled for. Oh, thank you, Lisa Branham. Is that Lisa Branham? Thank you for the super sticker, much appreciated. Oh yeah, devoted Blade. Got them ears up constantly. Hey, who's YW? You talking about me, Lisa? I do tell it how it is. I'm not afraid to. You know, it's just like I couldn't believe nobody wanted to say anything about to the ground swells people, but I sure did. I'm not afraid to say anything. If you do some stupid shit, I just sat back too long and just watched the stupid shit go on, and I got fed up with it. You know, why would you want to defend Richard Allen? And like I said before, like a couple of the other people that are involved with the ground swells, you don't give a damn about Abby and Libby. You don't. You guys done completely went away from all that, and now it's all about free Richard Allen, justice for Richard Allen. That's what I see from you guys, and that you guys are just dirty and wrong. Right, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying, Metal Mama. Enough evidence right there by his own admission on several things, and then the weapon, whatever else out the house that ties him directly to the crime scene, he's done. What else can you do in front of a jury when a man admits to being there? Or are you going to go up on the stand if you get called, if you testify in your own case and go up there and say, and they ask you, did you say you were ever at the trails? Did you admit to wearing the same clothing? And you're going to say no? You really think Richard Allen's going to say no? If he does, it's perjury because his statements. Yeah, he changed the defense tried to change his alibi, Coach Kev, because his original alibi, he told, was that he was there from 1:30 to 3:30. Now, in the memorandum, this garbage, whatever you want to call it, that's something that should have just been thrown in the trash, honestly. But then again, in that, they're saying that Richard's telling them that he was there from 12:30 to 1:30. What else is going to change next? Oh, I wasn't wearing a Carhartt jacket. I was wearing a tan jacket. Thank you, Lucy. Love your channel. I'm listening even though I'm quiet. Always praying for the families. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you guys ever get a chance, if you're part of the Facebook groups or anything, Becky Patty, I didn't know if a lot of people knew, but she had cancer. And I spoke with her today, and she had visited the doctor and found out she has no more cancer, guys. That just shows that God does good things. And I said to myself today, when I was talking to Becky, I said, that's one negative thing off your plate now. There's one relief. Now we just need justice for the girls. Now we just need justice for them girls. Thank you, Cindy. Nedra. Cold truth. She didn't violate no Sixth Amendment right. I'm sorry. She did not violate no Sixth Amendment right because she had new attorney signed to him within a week. And they're the ones that filed for the continuance on the trial. Yeah, CJK, just ignore it. The abrasive behavior. Just ignore it. Yeah, exactly. Mitch went to law school, but he did not pass the bar exam. I'm very passionate about this case. That's why I look into other cases. I'm still looking at the Jordan Sofer case. I spoke with the Wabash City attorney today by phone because I've been basically pushed aside by the Wabash Police Department because they're supposed to give me a response within 30 days on a request, and they basically flat out ignored me. So I went above their head and called the city attorney directly and spoke to him today. And he said he had a busy day today, that he would pull the file on Jordan Sofer from Wabash City records and take a look and see what I'm able to get, and he'll get with me in the next few days. Exactly right. They did not want a hearing in front of the cameras when they're the ones that requested the cameras. But the problem is, they felt blindsided by what the judge said, that she was going to bring up everything that's happened here recently, along with all the other motions they needed to decide what they were going to do with. That's when they decided they did not want to have be out in the courtroom. You want to talk all that big shit in front of the cameras and everything outside the courtroom, but when your ass get caught up in something, you sure don't want to face the cameras, do you? And I dare somebody to go after the family again, because I've had enough of that crap. And like I said on Monday, people were giving me backlash on a couple of those groundswell channels, talk about, oh, he's just a mouthpiece for the family. You're damn right I'm a mouthpiece for the family, but most importantly, I'm a mouthpiece for Abby and Libby. If you don't like it, you guys need to leave YouTube, because you have no business being here accusing family of this, accusing family of that, involvement in this, involvement in that. You know, you guys are pathetic. Just real pathetic. Damn it, I didn't want to go there today. Did not want to go there tonight. Thank you, Sandra. She says, I don't have a channel. I chime in because I care. I read the documents. I live very close. I care. I'm an hour and 20 minutes away, and this case is my heart. Yes, congratulations to Becky Merchant, Patty. She is free of cancer. There is a God, people, if you only believe. The door to the RA case file wasn't even locked, for Pete's sake. Right, exactly. Anybody in that building could have gone into that conference room. Yeah, they did leave it up to Allen. The defense team picked Allen County. You know, I might attend Westerman's hearing next week because the courthouse is right down the street from me. See, and that's a card they could use too, Lisa. Got it in his back pocket. If he's not getting what he wants, he'll throw that death penalty card right on the table and say, now what are you going to do? You're going to talk to me now? Give me the truth, or are you going to plead out, or what are you going to do here? Really devoted. Thank you, sweetheart. It's very kind of you. I think one of the two. He's either going to end up changing his plea to plead guilty, or they're going to offer him a plea deal, because I've heard rumblings that they've already talked about some plea deals in the past. I've heard rumblings. I have not vetted any of that. I'm just telling you, it's rumblings, like rumors. Yes, cold truth. Westerman will get a slap on the wrist because, like I said, it's an A misdemeanor in the state of Indiana. The max time is 1 year in jail and a fine. And if he's never been in trouble before, more likely he's probably going to get a year probation and fine, and that's it. Sandra, thank you for the super sticker. Mighty nice of you. Thank you very much. Leslie Kingston, thank you. $4.99 for the super sticker. Thank you. You know, that's the thing, Angel Bear. No one wanted to stand up for these people, the groundswell people. And when I watched that video, I said, what a joke. And I made a comment immediately. And then one of the other channels tied to that channel made a comment, wasn't happy with me. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. You guys made an ass out of yourselves out there. I understand your purpose was about constitutional right, but then again, we all know that was a ploy to try to speak on behalf of Richard Allen. Come on now. If that wasn't the case, then why'd you have picket signs saying Delphi and all this crap on there? That whole thing was about Richard Allen at the State House. And what happened the same day? Y'all tell me what happened the same day. Rakita files his brief with the Supreme Court, along with Judge Gull, the same day. And we didn't expect anything from Rakita. Yeah, if you defend a child killer, I ain't got no use for you, period. Sorry, guys, but I got to smoke a cigarette. I ain't got no use for you, period. Boy, I'm rambling, aren't I? Let's see. I can't see the prosecutor or anybody giving the murder of Abby and Libby and Alfred plea. No, hell no. Oh, hell no. Well, Sandra, you also, I thought, honestly, in my opinion, I would think that the Bar Association has probably got a complaint or something already filed against Baldwin on this whole situation. I would think that's already taken place. Yes, Rob, that's exactly what they do. It's all about the corruption. They're basically saying that he's being railroaded and framed. The corrupt cops and everybody in the county and everybody is framing Richard Allen, which he's not. What's going on, Aspen? Aspen Connor in the house. Good to see you, my friend. GP, thank you for the super sticker, sweetheart. Much appreciated. I hope you're doing much better on your health too. Well, yeah, you're right about that, Mustang. If Nick was leaking in the evidence, you would hear everybody and their mother bitching. Oh, yeah. Yes, it is worthy of a hearing from the bar. And I honestly believe that. Cold truth's on one tonight, girl. Where the defendant admits there is enough evidence that they would be convicted, but do not have to admit guilt. Oh, you're talking about that Alfred plea. Cindy Hudson says, regarding the new defense, you have to be experienced and qualified to handle a murder trial. The two chosen may have been the next two in line for the job. That's devoted to the situation with Becky Patty. That's just one hurdle of several hurdles that they're dealing with. Okay. And that's just one hurdle out of the way. Now the next hurdle is this whole situation with Richard Allen and all that. GP gave me another. Oh, that's the same one. Sorry. All right. I think that all the people in the YouTube community that's been covering the Delphi case should be a mouthpiece for the just Abby and Libby alone. But when I see these cuckoo birds out here, these flying monkey jackasses try to throw out narratives about conspiracy that he's being set up, he's being framed, and everything, when the man himself admitted to being there. He admitted on a phone call to his mother and his own wife. I mean, what more do you want? Yes, Vanessa. I lived in Hot Springs, Arkansas at the time. I was only about a 2-hour drive from there when that happened. Yes, they did take the Alfred plea. Well, I try the best that I can to keep my everything under wraps for me, and everybody knows that. But like I said, it got to the point where I didn't see nobody wanting to stand up against these flying jackasses when it comes to this groundswell crap. I said, fuck it, I'll stand up to them. I'm not afraid of them. Yeah, I got a backlash from one of the channels about it, and that channel is part of them people too. And I was like, you know what? Piss off. All right, sad. All right, Aspen Connor. Sadly, too many channels never even discuss or mention Abby and Libby anymore. It's all justice for Richard Allen. It's bullshit. It makes me angry and sad. My point exactly, Aspen. That's why I finally came unglued on Monday, because they went away from the whole purpose of what we do. It's not about the girls anymore. And there's my buddy Mike Fortune. Okay, you're out of the loop with the case, Mike. He's a buddy of mine's son that I went to high school with. The case file, Mike, is the defense. One of the defense lawyer's friends was in his office in the conference room and took his phone and screenshotted a bunch of crime scene photos and passed them along to several other individuals. And then they got spread out all over the internet, or social media, if I should say. Should what, Cold? Should what? I should what, Cold Truth? Oh, I talked to Becky today. She was overjoyed, guys. Believe me. She was overjoyed. Good to see you, Robin, Julianne, friend. Beth Gonzalez, good to see you, hon. I see more videos demanding we care about Richard Allen or Ashley Garth than I do regarding their victims, and I just want common sense to return to more people. Man, he just takes the words right out of my brain before I even get to say them. You do it all the time. I like that. It's like you read my mind, dude. Say all you want about me. I don't care. Words don't bother me. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words don't bother me. However that shit goes. Anybody want to come on panel? Shit, I'm in a talking mood. Let me post this. There you are. If anybody wants to come up and shoot the shit, there it is, guys. I'm reading through the chat. You guys are talking it up. Smoking Frank. Man, I'm going to have to smoke a bowl after this one. Boy, Colt Truth going at it with somebody in this damn chat. V, I know you ain't quitting, Mary Jane. I know that. There you go. They frame a person no one knows about, but you got a known convicted drunk driver everybody knows about, but they didn't want to frame him. Makes sense to me, don't you, Cold Truth? Anybody attacking the family, Lana, has no business being on YouTube, period. I almost went into somebody's chat last night and wanted to say something to him. So what kind of shit you spewing out of your mouth tonight? But I was a good boy. I didn't go in there. Shit, I wish I can get down to a half a pack a day. Yes, COVID in January of 2022. Oh, hey, it's just right down the street. Yeah, I'm thinking about going to it. I wonder if he's willing to talk on camera. That's what I want to know. Because he requested for cameras to be in the courtroom. You guys are doing another one, Aspen? Damn, didn't you guys just do one earlier? I'm just tired of the nonsense with some of these jokers out here, man. It's just, oh my God, it's pathetic. I mean, it makes me wonder. Don't they realize, or can't they see they're making jackasses of themselves? And everybody's like, well, why don't you do a lot of lives? I said, because I'm not one of them guys that's going to put bullshit information out there. If I think it's pertinent enough to put it out there, I'll do a live. I'm not in no hurry to get clicks like these other channels are. Oh, it's a chill one later, Aspen. Well, I mean, you all tell me what you want me to talk about, or what do you want to talk about? We'll talk about it. I don't give a damn, honestly. You know, but some people do need to get their shit straight. That's all I know. What is this? Reconnaissance. Here she goes. And edibles. The edibles don't do anything for me, V. And then I see I see some other creators that are basically coming out of retirement. Oh shit. Ah shit. Everybody want to say hi to Mel? What's going on, lady?
Hey,
What's up?
you've been on one for me. I was gonna go live tonight, and I was like, "Man, I'll wait till Frank's over." And I was like,
Oh, you should have seen
"Say
my
all that
Sunday.
I want to say in the chat."
You should have seen the one I had Monday. I was going off.
Were you?
Oh yeah.
I was so sick on Monday. I didn't look at anything all day, and then the next day I look at my messenger, and it's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "What in the world happened?"
Well, we usually hear from you at least once or twice a week, or I message you. You respond pretty quickly, but you haven't been. I was like, man, what's going on with her? Something
Yeah,
going
I
on
do
in her
that.
end?
I am not good at consistency, that's for sure.
What the hell is going on with my camera? It keeps it refocuses in itself.
I was telling my little group of friends that I was chatting with privately the other night. I was like, yeah, I named off all of these scripts and like lives and research that I have it all ready to go for a live, but I just haven't done any of them actually live. Because it's like by the time you put in all the work, like spent 6 hours preparing for the live. And then it's like by the time it's time to actually do it, I'm like, I don't want to anymore. But
Nadra said we could talk about how RA put himself there and then confessed to his wife repeatedly. I mean, that's no secret. And now, I mean, like I said in the memorandum, that the defense is trying to change the timeline from 1 to 3:30, 1:30 to 3:30 to 12:30 to 1:30. And see, now I've been going back over the timeline myself, and I'm starting to think that the girls are possibly were deceased well before 3:30.
it says, the pathologist, the medical examiner is the one that's going to give like a window of time of death.
But he did say it was all over by 3:30. But like I said, from the things that I'm learning so far and the timeline, I think somewhere in between 2:45 and 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. That's just my opinion.
Because it's a tight window. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, because when you first read the Frank's hearing, the 136 page inflammatory, totally meant for the public, like not the judge. It causes an emotional reaction, especially when you're reading through the part where they're like listing off like 1 through how many 30 of like all the steps that he would have had to do in this amount of time in order to get this committed. And you're just like, oh yeah, like when you first read it gets you. And then you read it again, and then you read it again, and you're like, I see what they're doing here,
Right.
Because when I first read that, I'm glad I didn't go live or anything, because it emotionally affected me. And then I was like, no, like, let me read this again. And then I read it again, and then I started reading the footnotes.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, okay. I see what you're doing there. That's why I say it was an oxymoron of a motion, because it was like brilliantly elementary.
Right, exactly. They knew exactly what they were doing there. They knew exactly what they
And the
were
way
doing.
it was written was brilliantly elementary as well. It wasn't written from a place of professional, seasoned attorneys, such as they are. I mean, they've been around for a while, but
Like
it
Aspen
was
says right here, a work of art.
a work of art. Yeah. I mean,
Like Dave Hennessy said, I had to do everything in my power in the courtroom from busting out laughing when he said that.
yeah. And now I do have to say, like, for being devil's advocate, I do wish that Judge Gull would have followed the Indiana like guidelines for recusal, like for getting them, but it doesn't rise to the like it doesn't rise to the effect that they have that they will. I don't think the Supreme Court is going to kick her off the case. Like it doesn't rise to that level of a offense, if you will. Like, but I do wish that she have did the disqualification hearing. And but see, the thing is like if you read that transcript, Rosie nor Baldwin asked for a what's it called, the law term for like delay. Like they didn't ask for
a continuance.
They didn't ask for a continuance. So if they would have asked for that and then the judge was like no, then I would be like that's not okay. But they didn't ask for one. They quit.
Yeah.
So
and like I said before, they knew exactly what was going to take place as soon as they arrived there that day. Why would you bring David Hennessy with you if you didn't know what was going to take place?
Right. And I totally agree with, I don't know which one of them said it, but yeah, those were in emails, which are not a part of the official record. Like none of that, like I wish that part had been, but
it is now.
They got what they wanted. I think that they didn't think that they actually had it recorded and like they weren't going to get outed. I mean, they like them leaving the courtroom, like coming in all, bombastically into the next hearing where you got like I wish I had gone just for that alone.
Oh man, I tell you, man, when they walked in, I said, what the hell are they doing there? So I looked at my case and I said, I'll be damned, these bastards, they filed a pro bono appearance.
It's crazy. And then he say, do your job when he was leaving. He told them to do their job. If he wasn't at business, then he would have told the Supreme Court to do their job, not the media. Like, dude, I'm like,
you should, like I said, you should have seen Judge Gull's face when she walked into the courtroom and they were sitting at the defense table. I was like, oh Lord.
I don't know.
She sat, and this is exactly what she did. She sat at the bench. She sat as close to him as she could, with her head right out in front.
Oh man!
Yeah, I was like, uh-oh. I turned around and looked at Bob Siegel, and I said, "Oh, here goes the shit show."
She has some patience, and like did you watch any of the trial of Darrell Brooks?
No.
Oh my gosh, that judge is a saint. But some of this has reminded me of what that judge had to go through. And it's just like that she is able to keep her composure at times. It's just like, that's impressive.
Right.
But, you never know with the Supreme Court. Like someone said in chat, this is like a case precedent. But them filing a civil tort, like attempting to file like a civil tort for the client, the same client that they are defending in a criminal case.
Well,
that's asinine.
Well, it's Todd Rokita made it perfectly clear. They did not follow judicial protocol. They were supposed to file everything with the appellate court first. So they basically thought they were just gung-ho and they could just bypass the appellate court and go straight to the Supreme Court. That's not how it works.
Yeah,
so that's why I believe.
representing the same client in a civil tort as you are representing, like what?
That's going to get thrown out too.
You know what? Like, why don't you do your job that you were assigned because you are a public defender? Do that job and like put all your time and energy into that and maybe lock the door. I don't know.
Right.
What?
I don't know. I don't know.
And then Rosie, hearing what Rosie said in those chambers, I am so glad that that was not in front of the families. Like, that was horrible. Can you imagine? Like, I don't care that these photos were leaked. It's not a big deal. Like,
yeah, right there tells you right there they did not care about Richard Allen.
For
that's
sure.
That's how I felt. I think it was more about their own self-preservation and getting their face out into the public eye because everybody knows this case is worldwide.
And just that the families had to even read that, you know.
Well, I talked to Vicky right after it happened.
When the crime scene photos are horrible.
Yeah.
You know, like Libby's family. For him to say that is just.
I don't know. I mean, he made a complete jackass out of himself in those chambers by saying that. And then what do you want me to do with the rest of the discovery? Just throw it in the trash? Come on, dude. You're a fucking attorney. You know how it works.
Oh, yes, Wanda. That's the one I'm talking about. The guy that intentionally ran over and killed like a bunch of people and injured a bunch of others. Like he drove his vehicle into a crowd and he defended himself.
You talking about that one up in, what was it?
Darrell Brooks.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about what state was that? Like Wisconsin or something like that?
Minnesota?
Minnesota, Iowa, or something like that. I know it was up there somewhere. Yeah, I remember that case now. Yeah.
Oh, good point, Aspen.
Well, you're ahead of me. Where's he at in the chat?
And someone just like put in the chat earlier that this earth burp, you know, the groundswell earth burp. Yeah, we're gonna try to crowdsource to fund Baldwin and Rosie being his pro bono. Like, do they realize how expensive? Like, just to hire some of these experts to testify and to review, like ballistics, say, some of the experts that they would need to hire, the cost of some of those people, it's tens of thousands of dollars just for expert witnesses alone. Like, they're not going to be they were struggling with this case without being pro bono. Like, because it does take up a lot of their time. So therefore they're not making as much money on their other dockets, you know, like, right, because this is such a big case. So it's like, to think that they could go pro bono is a joke. Like, absolutely not going to happen. They don't mean it either.
Well, I can tell you one thing, that for Andrew Baldwin to retain him, it's $50,000 right off the top. It's a friend of mine's son. He's 16. He's in the Marion County Jail on a murder charge. And they got a hold of me and said, hey, we need to find an attorney. Can you give us some references? And I gave him a couple, and I gave him Baldwin, and they called up there and they said $50,000 to retain right off the top.
Which, you know, that's actually pretty reasonable if you think about how long like a murder trial in the state of Indiana actually takes. I mean, $50,000 is not, like, as an annual salary, is not much.
And then you got Rosie, who has his own private plane. And I'm like, well, you guys don't need no money. No wonder you went pro bono. Jeez. What do you think he was going to use that $2.1 million the judge allotted? Since you're going to
sell his plane for Richard Allen?
Right. Exactly. You know,
come on. But can you imagine? Like, I imagine they would have shit their pants if she'd have been like, all right, jump on pro bono. They would have been like, they knew she wasn't going to allow that. Come on.
Getting devoted here. This is a thing that I was talking about the other day. It was like they were trying to bully Judge Gull. They were trying to use their position and their clout from as far as the state of Indiana to bully her around, and she wasn't having it. That's how I feel.
Serious, Aspen?
What do you say?
There's a GoFundMe active trying to raise $30K.
For who?
For Richard Allen, Aspen.
What? $30K for who? To hire, I'm telling you, Judge Gull is going to get fed up with this shit.
Oh, Lord.
But she can't do anything right now because everything's on hold with the actual case. But the Supreme Court gets wind of this shit. They're being like, what the fuck y'all think you're doing?
Right, Red Queen. Exactly. I just don't buy that this Earth burp cares about Richard Allen one bit.
Well, hell, Kathy, they just sold the house. So I know she got a good chunk of money. I know she's got to live in herself and everything too. But if you're so concerned about proving your husband's innocence, I'd have taken at least half of that money you got from the house being sold and hiring an attorney.
Oh, that is true, TLS. That is true.
Oh, no shit.
Yes, it is.
Hey, let's find that GoFundMe page and report it.
Right. Oh, okay. Thanks, Aspen.
Oh, yes. Please do that. Ha ha.
Yeah, that's crazy. But so much is just like crazy. It's like the upside down world with this Delphi case. And it's really just loses sight of the victims, but when I started my podcast, my big thing was I wanted to have cases that are in all aspects of from unsolved, missing, presumed murder to unsolved to like the case with Ray where the killer confessed, but yet it's not been adjudicated through the adjudication process and into the appeals process, which is where I'm at now with Nicole Bowen's family. But like, I wanted to show what the victims' families go through because it doesn't end for them.
It never
ends. And people
you might get a guilty verdict and he goes to prison for the rest of his life, but
it doesn't stop there for them.
No, it doesn't. Every time they walk by and see a picture, a memory, or whatever, they have to relive it every time.
Well, and also in the system. I mean, I love our system.
Look.
At the same time, good. It's going to be reported. I will report it too.
I am too.
The appeals process, the post-conviction relief, then they're up for parole. It's never ending because by the time they've exhausted their appeals, then you've got a little bit of time before they're up for parole. And then you got to start and relive it, re-victimize them all over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst thing ever. And like, I feel so bad for the families of Abby. I think about like what has been described in these crime scene photos. And I think about that being one of my daughters. And that's just kind of passed around and like.
Hold on a second. I'm going to see if you sent me that.
I don't know. Do people ever put themselves in their shoes, of like how horrible it would feel to have pictures of your child murdered on the ground, like in the most, humiliating of time, and like for that to be for public consumption, like that should have been for the jury. As far as the public goes, it should have been for the jury and the jury alone,
Right.
Like that people aren't outraged about that. Instead, they're choosing to be outraged about Richard Allen's safeness, which we come to find out he's more than safe. He's being treated better than he, This is a high-profile murder case. Do you think that Carroll County, even with the new facility, has a wing for like with mental health, like professionals in it, and like segregated, because he would have to be segregated no matter where he is. They don't have the facility for that. They don't have the facility to keep him safe.
Well, see, in the second hearing,
he's not amongst convicted murderers and all of this jazz.
right,
Like,
right. And
he would have been segregated in a county. So it's just a lot of like filibustering, you know.
Well,
it's a kind of filibustering, and it look, you know, by releasing that picture of him, you know, like it's sad.
hey, Leslie, you are correct on that. And I can tell you what, I have met some friends forever when it comes to the family.
Yeah.
Believe that.
Yeah.
So, but we are getting on the 2-hour mark here, lady. And I still haven't eaten no damn dinner yet.
What?
Again, yeah. When shit like this gets going, man, I block everything else out and focus.
Yeah.
I do, you know. And it's just like this you were talking about trying to do other cases. For me, I try to do other cases too, but with this case here, you never know what's going to happen. So I don't want to
every day it's something.
Right. It's not like I want to start another case, but I don't want to go so far in depth that something pops off with Delphi, then I have to put that case on hold and go back to Delphi again. Like right now, I'm slowly but surely working on getting documents for the Jordan Sofer case. I actually spoke with the Wabash City attorney today, and he's going to look at the file and see what he can get for me and get with me next week. So
good. 100% Roxy. Yeah.
All right. Here's the link, guys, in the chat for the GoFundMe page.
You as well, Leslie. We're not far from each other at all.
We're all not really far from each other at all.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's just one big loop on 460, right off 465 and 65.
Right. I mean, Greeno's already, you know, put all my information out there. So I live in in Brownsburg, Leslie. So I'm not far from you at all.
So, and the Rescue All Dogs lives in the same neighborhood, I believe, as Leslie.
Who?
Rescue All Dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm thinking about attending Mitch's hearing next week.
Oh, I think you should. I think you should take your camera and have it on as he's walking in, like some kind of something. I mean,
I wonder who he's got his representation.
Like, I mean, he should be a little bit.
Oh, you froze up. My eyes shut. Look at her. Are you still frozen? Yep, she clocked out. All right, guys. I am going to call it tonight. We've been at it nearly 2 hours. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. I want to thank Lisa Branham, Sandra, Leslie, GP, and GP again for the super stickers tonight, ladies. Thank you very much. It's much appreciated. And to all my mods who hung out tonight, thank you for keeping up with the chat tonight and making sure no silly shit was going on. Love all of you guys. Aspen, thank you so much, sir, for popping in and dropping that link for everybody so we can all go report this crap. Let all you know who's involved with this GoFundMe page. We're reporting it because it's illegal for you guys to be having that GoFundMe page to raise money for somebody who's being charged with a heinous crime. So look out for it to be taken down. All right, guys, ladies and gent, love all of you. You know what time it is. Peace out. One love, guys. Good night. See y'all soon.